What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here in this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, we have our June town hall, and yes, these are only once a month now. So this is the town hall for June 20th, 2024. This was actually quite jam-packed. I mean, it was only still about 2 hours, but you know, the team brought a lot of really interesting things. There was not a roadmap, but just like a progress map, and maybe not even a progress map, just all the stuff that they're working on. And I think I'll do a separate video for that. Obviously, this is the 5 biggest takeaways. So for anybody new to the channel or new to the series, anytime there's a Splinterlands town hall, I will just do the 5 biggest things that jumped out to me, but you can also see a little bit of a preview here. A lot of bonus items, which I will just touch on very briefly because I believe that they're going to warrant some videos on their own after I have a little time to think about them more. So let's go ahead and dive in. First things first, there is an update coming this Tuesday, which is fascinating because the team seems to be continuously doing updates on Tuesdays. I thought it was going to move to like every other week, but they just keep adding little quality of life things or actually big things. So, you know, shout out to Investigator and the team for just constantly being on top of it. We are having another major update this week, or sorry, I should say next week, this upcoming maintenance window on the 25th of June. And the big one there is going to be the Soulkeep launch. So, you know, we haven't heard much from the Soulkeep team. I've been trying to keep tabs of what's going on in the Soulkeep Discord channel within the Splinterlands server. They haven't said much. I know that there's supposed to be a soft launch and then, you know, the full launch coming later. There was no feedback in terms of how the soft launch has gone, but it seems like Splinterlands or the Splinterlands company is somewhat confirming that the soft launch. Well, I don't know if the soft launch has gone well, but they're confirming that they are doing all the back end stuff for excuse me, for the Soulkeep launch, which is, you know, managing your NFTs, opening packs, and, you know, the market activities. So that's actually really exciting. I mean, we've been waiting for this for a while, and it looks like it's here. The other notable items, and again, there's much more to this, but just the notable items for Tuesday's updates. Tournaments will be moving to tech modernization, which really leaves guilds, and then of course the battles themselves. Everything else seems like it is modernized so far, and yeah, I mean, it's nice to see that coming to an end, hopefully soon. I think the team's been working on this for a while, and so to have everything be on one site or server, I don't know the technical term for it, but for it to all just be under one roof where it's easy for them to update and focus on, for all those updates to flow through the mobile experience and have that be pretty good, I'm excited for that. So that's where we're at. And then they also have one-click set rentals. Now, this is only going to be the back end, and I think, you know, Investigator was trying to maybe entice some of the third-party options out there, like Peak Monsters, to potentially work with this before the team is able to get the front end, right? So the UI, but the back end is going to be there for the one-click set and rentals. And I believe the next update, I don't know if that's going to be the week after or 2 weeks after, will be the full release of one-click set and rentals, which to me represents a pretty big. I don't know. I've been looking forward to it for a while. I think it's a big stepping stone towards just having a solid experience when people can come in. I know you can go to third party places like Peak Monsters where they have those decks available. And shout out to Peak Monsters. They've built a lot of stuff, but having it in game for somebody who is brand new, right? Because this is about the player experience and specifically the new player experience, having it built in game is going to be so crucial for when a lot of new players start to come in, right? Whether that's the bull run that kind of brings people in or the team starts to ramp up their marketing. Okay, next, let's move on to number 2. This was interesting. So obviously we know that the team is very much focused on the new player experience, or the player experience as Matt has called it. And one thing that was fascinating, well, there's a couple areas that I want to get into, but let's start with the notes that I have here. One thing that's fascinating is that the team looked into the signups. We're getting about 100 signups per day. Now, those are people just creating accounts, but not buying a spell book. So in my head, I thought, right, I thought like, you know, we see that number up there all the time. I'm like, this has got to be inflated. Somebody probably made a script that creates accounts, you know, back during the bull run and forgot about it, right? They left Splinterlands a long time ago, but maybe they just left the software running in the background and it just keeps, you know, it just seems like it's a botted thing. Well, the team did a little digging into this, and to their surprise, pleasant surprise, it's not a bot activity. To their knowledge and everything that they've done research on, these are actual people coming to check out the game. That's the good news. The bad news is that nobody's buying spellbooks, right? The conversion is less than 1% per day. You can see that, if we have 100 accounts, like people are, maybe one person buys a spellbook. So Matt was actually quite bullish about this, considering the fact that now they know they have traffic coming to check out the game, even if it's just 100 people per day. So how do you get that less than 1% conversion up to 5, up to 10%, right? Because at that point, that's when marketing and advertising really starts to get interesting, right? What's the click-through rate? What's the conversion rate? If you can get 10 out of every 100 people, right, a 10% rate to come in, try the game, play a spellbook, and spend X amount of dollars, right? Whether it's a spellbook and whether it's spending money on cards, if they can get that conversion rate up with all the new player experience things that they're implementing, right? The tutorial that's coming later, one-click set rentals, just a better looking game overall. That's when you throw gasoline on the fire and say, okay, well, now we know how much does it cost. Like if we're going to spend, $1,000 on marketing, I'm just putting a number on there, right? But if we're going to spend $1,000 on marketing, and that will have us reach 100,000 people. Again, I don't know what the actual metrics are, but every $1,000 reaches 100,000 people, and 10% of those will convert. Well, hey, that's actually pretty awesome, right? Actually, those numbers would be fantastic if you were to think about it. But you get my point, right? So the more people, the higher they're able to get that conversion rate without having to spend the advertising or marketing to do it is actually quite good because it's built in. There's already this kind of exposure that's happening for the game. And I think the team is going to utilize that to do some, A/B testing to really push forward marketing, see how they can improve the conversion before they start spending any of their marketing dollars, right? Because obviously for the team, and we'll get to the runway towards the end as one of the bonus items, but obviously the team is trying to be very frugal right now and make sure that they're spending money only where they need to. The other parts of the new player or player experience overall. This is really fascinating. I'm going to lead into this free-to-play option that Matt had talked about. Matt had said that, or he's talked about creating a player experience and focusing on new players, right? We all want new players, and I've even talked about this in several videos. I haven't made the spicy video that I want to make just yet, but I'll get to it at some point. The whole point is they're trying to bring in lots of players, right? So in a way, he even said it somewhat bluntly today, respectfully, but bluntly, that it's just like, the community is providing a ton of feedback, a ton of fantastic ideas and things that the team could implement, but they don't have the resources for that now. And for him and the team, the money is better spent, right? The resources are better spent on focusing on how to bring in new players, right? They could do a bunch of more quality, of life things, or add a new game mode that, the 3,000 of us here might actually like, but that's not going to bring in new players. For them, the focus is let's bring in a bunch of new players. That brings in a lot of money into the ecosystem. That helps the team out, and then they can bring in the people to really expand the experience from there. So that's their focus. And one of the major things that I thought was actually quite big is Matt wants to create more of a free-to-play experience, because right now, $10 is a huge gate in any game, right? To be able to play a game, just to play, to pay $10 just to be able to play and try out a game is kind of insane, right? Like, most people wouldn't do it unless, the game was highly reviewed or, people were bragging about the earnings online, which is exactly what happened during the last bull run in 2021. But obviously it's not happening now. So if you can create an experience where people can come in, try out the game, play, and actually build up their account. This is the important part, right? They can build up their account and, earn Soulbound items, earn Soulbound things, earn Glint, right, just by playing. All of that stuff gets really interesting because then if they like it, then they move forward, right? They move forward, they spend the money on the spellbook, all of a sudden they start earning SPS per win, they start, getting all the other benefits of whatever it is. So there's going to be, some interesting things I think the team is going to try to push forward. And again, keep in mind, like, the glint shop will probably be like limited so that people can't come in and just farm the free to play and get whatever it is that they're hoping for. The idea is that they want it to be something where people can come in and try it for free. And I know I haven't done content in a while, but I'm still very hot on Parallel and the way that Parallel is designed. And this is kind of emulating that. And I really like the fact that the team is opening up their, or at least opening up their purview. I was going to say they're stealing, right? Like they're stealing. The great artists create, good artists create and great artists steal, right? So the idea is like, look at what's working in the rest of the ecosystem. I think Parallel is doing it quite well. They're obviously in the TCG Web3 space as well. So if they can create something like that where people can just come in, it's going to be so much easier. And then for folks like myself, which, obviously I've told a bunch of people about Splinterlands just because I create content for it. I was doing the music for it. But getting people to actually come in and try the game is always like, unless you're big into crypto, unless you're big into like really, really niche TCGs, I don't think it's going to be your thing. But now I feel much more comfortable saying like, it's free to play. There's a free to play version. Give it a try, right? The bronze meta, oddly enough, I was playing in a bronze tournament recently. I know people won't like that, but I just joined a bronze tournament recently, and I was like, oh, I kind of miss like the basic meta of bronze and being able to just jump in and try something different. I remember as a new player being fascinated by that. And kind of like learning my way up the leagues. Well, now you can have that for a newer player. They can come in and just have the minimum, right? And hopefully the team has been, I think they've been working well with creating, more of the PvE environment, right? So there's some bots available, team run bots that don't earn, obviously. And so if that experience can become quite good, then yeah, I mean, it's just like, yo, come check out this game. If you like it, right? If you like it, you can just continue to play for free, build up your account. You're only going to be getting Soulbound cards, right? But you can rent here and there. You can use the one-click set and rentals, or maybe just get a couple summoners and then use your Soulbound cards from there. Like all that stuff is going to be, I think, fantastic for new players coming in that want to have more of a casual relationship with the game. And this is what I'm talking about, creating spaces for casual players to come in. Then if they want to spend, right, they want to buy or rent the SPS, they want to buy or rent the cards from Modern or Wild, whatever it is, to be able to start really expanding their experience, they can do so. But at least they're getting a nice taste of things at the beginning without having to spend $1. And I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic that is going to be a positive thing, because I've seen it work so well with a game like Parallel, for example. And at the end of the day, even though it's an auto battler, there is a fun meta. There is a game behind Splinterlands, right? The TCG. At the end of the day, that is the driving force, and it's what's kept me around for all these years. Okay, so let's move to number 3. Soulbound Unlock. The team does not have any dates, but Matt actually dropped a little bit of alpha. Now, keep in mind, none of this is finalized, right? So everything is subject to change. But he did talk about how he wants to structure the Soulbound Unlock. Now, keep in mind, they want to launch it sometime this summer, right? So the time frame will be hopefully within the next 1 to 2 months. I guess we're already in the second half of June, so yeah, hopefully 1 to 2 months. And the idea would be, obviously, the new Rebellion reward cards would come into the mix, and then we'd have a period in which we could unlock our Soulbound cards. Now, he wants the Soulbound Unlock price to be cheap at first, but get larger over time to incentivize people, especially those who have conviction that they want to unlock their cards, to do it early. And so, we had talked about a 17x unlock cost that would be comparative to where Rebellion is sold, right, at $4. And Matt was being cognizant of that. Again, this is at the beginning of the year, so it's been 5 months already. So in keeping with that, the range that he gave, and again, all is subject to change, is starting off at 10x and going all the way up to 20x, and having that unlock period be about 10 months. Now, I thought it was only going to be 6 months at first, or he said 6 months to a year, and then later on he's just like, yeah, we're thinking 10 to 20x, right? 10x to 20x over a period of 10 months, right? So it's just linearly increasing every month. And so what that does is it incentivizes people to unlock early. Now, maybe some people want to speculate, maybe they don't. I'm probably not going to be a speculator. Maybe other people in the space will. There will be certain cards that I think that I will want to unlock just because I want to have them available, right? Cards that I think are clutch for the meta. But maybe I wait it out. At the same time, you might have other folks that are just like, yeah, I'm gonna unlock my entire set right now. And this is something that I've been thinking about. It's just like, okay, well, let's say we do get into a crazy kind of situation where 12 months from now, we have new players coming to check out the game, right? 2025 is almost like a second coming of 2021. Well, I mean, Coastal Sentry is one of my favorite cards, right? It's a common card. There's a bunch of other cards out there. And I'm just like, if I could spend a couple of DEC just to like unlock a couple BCX of those on day one, maybe I will. And maybe other people will too, right? Or I could wait it out. And let's say it starts in July, right? So 10 months would be April of next year when things would, when the unlock would be complete, the unlock period would be complete. Maybe I wait it out and I just do the 20X then, right? Obviously, everything would be, I think, have discounts with vouchers. But ultimately, I like the way that this is structured. I think that it should be time restrictive as well as obviously, range restrictive. So, Matt's putting a lot of thought into this. I think it's going to be good. I think by structuring it in this way, you can get a lot of front loading of the unlocks. I mean, we already knew that many people who don't have certain cards, myself included, right, especially a lot of the legendary or epic cards, if you don't have those, you'll probably want to go and buy them off the market. So I think there's going to be some kind of demand from, the top, champ level players who have a bunch of extras. So there will be some demand to unlock. What that looks like in the future, how that plays out, I don't know. Maybe you have people who just come in and, they flood the market. They speculate, then they flood the market, and maybe the market dips, right? Maybe all of a sudden these cards are going for pennies on the dollar in 6 to 7 months because demand just wasn't there right away. Well, the benefit of that is they would have paid the unlock fee early on the front end, burned it, and added all that value to the ecosystem. Will that be enough to get the flywheel activated? I have no idea, right? This is the biggest unknown over the next couple of months is the Soulbound unlock in terms of how many vouchers and how much DEC it's going to burn. It's really the only thing that's happening. Actually, that's a lie. There is Soulkeep, but that's not part of the Splinterlands project, right? So I don't know what kind of focus there's going to be on that, but I maintain that Double Coconut, who owns Soulkeep now, I don't think they have the same kind of incentive as Splinterlands, the company, to get the ecosystem in a good place, right? They're launching a game, and they're studio, so they gotta find a way to make money. I don't think that they're focused on like getting the flywheel activated, getting rid of vouchers, right? That's something that Matt is highly focused on because this is his ecosystem at the end of the day. So Soulbound unlocks. This is the alpha that we have. I think it's interesting. I'm hoping that we do get it next month, but they don't have a time frame for this yet. And with one-click set rentals seeming to be the next thing on the docket, I don't know how long that's going to take. But my hope is that if that does get completed in early July, we could start having that conversation about Soulbound unlocks as well as the new Rebellion reward cards, maybe late July or early August. But again, that's just my time frame based on what we know is coming so far. Okay, let's talk about land. Now, Matt did talk quite a bit about land. I don't have all of the notes here, and granted, there wasn't much new in the sense of like hard dates or things that they're concretely working on. It's just a lot of ideas that have been floating around, and the kind of general optimism around, yeah, these are some good ideas. We want to get working on them, right? So there's still this plan to launch the other natural resources. And, I talked about it in the Scarecrow video that I did of doing like a land consumable card. But the new alpha was finding a way to use research for some type of conflict style game, right? Not even game, but just like a promo. So imagine like promo cards available in the future, but in order for you to be eligible, in order for you to gain like the airdrop chances or whatever you want to call it, right? The promo chances, you would need to actually convert your research huts. Instead of searching for secret of Praetoria research, they would add in a new research for XYZ promo card. And so again, it all comes down to how are the whales going to react to this? How are the landowners, even the medium-sized landowners, going to react to this? If there's cool elements within the game that they can add, I think that's awesome. And if they can give more, or I shouldn't say more, but just like any utility to research tokens before Secret of Praetoria, which is what Matt said exactly, right? They're trying to find ways in which that they can get some utility to research tokens and have people start using them now. If they can do that effectively, I mean, I'm not saying that land is going to be this fantastic, awesome thing. It'll just be better, obviously, than what it is right now. And for someone like me that just goes in and, claims my grain, claims my SPS, and that's it, there'll be a gamification factor to it. And the fact that land is relatively cheap right now, again, it's not financial advice, but it's just obviously the market is down dramatically. You might get people that will put more assets on land. They will scoop up cheap cards off the market. Maybe they'll scoop up some land. I'll be honest, I've even been looking at some land. Again, I haven't bought anything. I did. Oh, you guys will love this, but I'll save this for a separate video. I did buy a beta card the other day. I spent money on a beta card because I figure I'm gonna be playing in Wild for a while. So I did buy a beta card, but there's a lot of folks that obviously are still bullish about everything that's going on, and I think that this could be something that's fantastic for a lot of the land barons out there that are looking to find ways in which that they can have more fun with their land and have that tie into the full game. So I don't know about the consumable idea. Matt did say in the town hall chat. He didn't say it on the town hall, but he just responded to the idea in the town hall chat as he does with some of the questions that come through there via text. He did say it was a neat idea, so I think that's cool. But at the end of the day, that probably would require a significant overhaul of the way even like the battle and the collection systems would work. If you have a consumable item there versus maybe if they do these research for conflict type of events or opportunities, that might make a little bit more sense. Either way, it's cool that they're thinking about this, but it does not sound like anything is coming anytime soon. And this is not from the team. This is just from me thinking through where things are at right now and where land is at and all the other things. My guess is the earliest we'd see anything for land is Q4, just because new player experience is taking up everything for the team, and Q4 would be October, right, at the earliest. So we're talking now about entering into Q3, July, August, September, and my guess is that that's going to be pretty much dominated by finishing out all of the new player experience, right? So this one-click set rentals, the tutorial system that the team has been working on. Nate shared some eye candy, and then of course the Soulbound unlocks and Rebellion reward cards. I think that those alone may take 3 months, and we wouldn't see anything for land until later on this year. Okay, so that's land. Number 5. We'll close on this. Obviously, we won't go through the bonus items. Matt said at the beginning, he talked about his definition of Web3 games. I thought it was interesting because I don't know that I necessarily agree with it, but I did find his argument fascinating, where he was basically saying like Web3 isn't about having all of these assets. Everything should be an asset or a token that you can sell and get value from, right? Web3 to him was having things that are built on the blockchain, not on private, servers, and is trustless, verifiable, all of that jazz. And I thought about it and I was just like, okay, well, this is obviously something that I agree with, right? I agree with the principle in theory, but it's like merging or diverging maybe where we've seen the game traditionally, right? Where everything that you would receive was some kind of asset, namely cards, right? Because people are kind of complaining about the fact that the game is moving towards more of like a Web 2 style thing with all the Soulbound items, but Matt was very defensive of that, and I again agree with his argument and sentiment. I think that from a gaming standpoint, we need to move there, and it's just the fact that people have been earning cards for a while, so there's this feeling of entitlement, right? And I don't say that disparagingly. It's just this feeling of entitlement that many people have, where it's just like, I used to earn cards that had value, now they don't. Well, it's like they do, they just don't have monetary value because that monetary value was abused so badly, and our economy is still recovering from that. But they do have value from a gaming standpoint. You do still get to play with them, and if you want to unlock them in the future because they have value, you can do that. You'll just have to provide a little value into the ecosystem first, but you're only going to do that if there is a demand for it, right? So it helps to keep the value of the reward cards, which is crucial, right? Like I even made that video the other day of saying like, I don't even know that we should be doing reward cards this way, but I don't think we're going to move away from that either way. It was just more so a little bit of a thought experiment. So I thought that was interesting. Matt obviously has been in this space for a while. He's thinking through a lot of things differently, and the tokenization of assets within games is kind of the appeal of Web3 for me when I first got into this 3-ish years ago. So, at the end of the day, I'm trying to take what he said and apply it, because obviously I do think about the decentralized nature, trustless, verifiable, all that stuff. And if that's his approach, that actually makes sense with where a lot of the game is going. And we just need to, it's one of those things, like if that's where the founder of the game is pushing the game, you either need to get on board with it or move on, right? Because it makes sense where he's trying to go. It's just so different, so radically different than I think what many of us have been thinking about Web3 as for the past couple of years. And so this is still a very new industry, right? At the end of the day. And I think no game has really found the best way to do play to earn in a sustainable way. I think Splinterlands is one of the most fascinating experiments out there, and I do think that there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic if we can get through this, this really rough period or this patch of the bear market the bear market, and then this rough patch we're going through now. But it's fascinating either way, and I still maintain every game you play, you can earn SPS, which is a tradable token, which is cryptocurrency, which is value, and if that's all that's available, that's more than any other Web 2 game out there, right? I was fascinated. The first time I played Splinterlands, and I was playing with starter cards in 2021, and I earned, I don't know, like a couple of DEC. It was like maybe a fraction of a penny or a couple pennies. I saw somewhere in that range, and I just thought to myself, this is a paradigm shift. It clicked for me in that moment, because I was like, I just earned money playing this game. I can go cash out right now. Granted, it's only like 2-3 cents, but I can go cash out right now. Had never done that with a game before, unless I was playing at some elite level in some kind of organized competition that had sponsors and money, whatever. It was fascinating. Obviously, the way that the economy was set up then didn't work, but this pivot that we've had, I think, will work, assuming we get the proper catalyst that will come in with the bull run, and more players and the team creating a better experience overall, which are all the things that have been happening over the past couple of months and years. Okay, so that's all 5 items. Let me just quickly go over the bonus things, because I need to end this video, and like I said, I don't want to spend too much time on this. This was the 5 biggest takeaways. So Matt mentioned like doing promo card sales every other month as a way of generating revenue. I don't know if we haven't seen it every other month. I think we had one in April for the Bitcoin halving, but it's been 2 months so far. My guess is that once they get through whatever period this is, maybe throughout the rest of the year, we'll get 3. That could be interesting. Matt wants to get rid of vouchers. He's like very anti-vouchers, and I thought that it was awesome. And this is coming from somebody who loves selling their vouchers every day. So that's like my ice cream money. I actually really liked his argument. And like I said, I'm going to make a separate video on this, because I think I have some ideas on how we can potentially do it, even though Matt is saying that it's probably not possible to get rid of vouchers just with the way that stakeholders are. But either way, everybody's open to ideas, and that's what we're going to do here. The DAO you should expect a DAO proposal for validator development. This is something that should have been on the DAO from the beginning. The team has been subsidizing it for a while to their detriment. So keep that in mind as something that I'm probably going to vote for, depending on what it looks like. But this is something that the DAO should be self-sustaining. And if we can't do that with all the money that was loaded into the DAO, then I don't know what the DAO is there for. Also, a warning to anybody who still might be botting in tournaments or in Modern. The team has set up ways in order to detect this, and they have set up some kind of system internally to start enforcing this. So I know Matt didn't want to play whack-a-mole, but they are taking this seriously, this fair play thing seriously, which I think is great. So they're going to do that. I think it's fantastic. Hopefully we'll get more information, or we'll see accounts just start getting banned, which is banned from Modern, I should say. And then the team talked about runway. I think I'm going to do a separate video on this as well. 6 to 7 months of runway if they don't sell anything at all, right? But there are revenue options, and Matt is going to try to go to the Hive DAO and then maybe even the SPS DAO for some funding, as well as potentially, working with outside investors. He thinks that even, with everything that they're considering, they're good for the next 12 months, which should hopefully be well into the bull run. And then finally, there was some talk about cosmetic items. Like I said, I'll probably do a separate video about this, because Matt somewhat ruled out the complexity, even though it's a cool idea, the complexity of doing functional cosmetics, so functional skins, for example. I gave the example a while ago, Oceanus, where you could put a skin on him and he could have like +1 magic, but maybe -1 speed, or +1 magic and -1 health, right? So therefore your Oceanus would be different from other people's Oceanus. He likes that idea, but again, I think it'd be difficult. Where they're leaning towards is maybe doing some types of skins that would add a boost, similar to like a gold foil. But they could do it where, it adds some, bonuses to ranked, or it adds bonuses to land, which I think could be interesting too, because I think a lot of land barons would be in for that. But again, cosmetics are something I would say Q4 or 2025. That would be, that's something that they have ready to go, but I think it's just not a priority for them at this point in time. So that is all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I will catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.